a little orange plum.
Hello everyone and welcome to Little Orange Plum. So today we are looking at a new subreddit called r/forwards from grandma. So, as you all know, there has been some election drama and grandma has some opinions about it. Let's take a look, shall we? We have, which is why Trump lost by 5 million votes. Don't be fooled. There's a lot more of us than we think. Trump's troopers. Ben ass weird font. Million strong America tough. Dude, like, I get that I understand you've recently figured out how to do the word art thing. Like, this is a new feature that you've only just learned how to use, like 20 years after the rest of us all did. But like, I can't read the text when you do it like that. It's freaking fading into the background. But anyway, bad font notwithstanding, we know there's more of you than we think. That was kind of the main thing that most of my American friends have been saying, is how disappointed they were in the amount of people who still voted for Trump. And honestly, it's like one of that things of, you know, the dramas of, it's a close election, we don't really care right now, as long as we win, how many votes are, we just gotta win. Then Biden wins, and it's like momentary pause of, okay, this is great, we won, let's enjoy this, and then holy crap, that was a lot closer than it should have been. We are in the middle of a global pandemic, and here's the politician who has said, it's not a global pandemic, it's all about me. This is only happening to make me look bad. And I don't know if it's just this thing where like a lot of Americans don't seem to realize that you're not the center of the universe. Hashtag not all, of course, but like, for me, living in a foreign country, and especially because everyone who I know who's American has like lived abroad, because that's how I met them, and so obviously their reality and their perspective of this is wildly different from what I'm seeing in America. And of course, it's that moment of me going to my American friends and being like, are people really like this, or are there actually people who are so like into politics and like into this whole Americana idea that it doesn't register? That when the rest of the world says, hey, coronavirus is happening to us too, and it's not just happening to America, and we're not going to put all of our lives in foreign countries on hold, we're not going to damage our economies and stuff like that to help an American political candidate win an election. You don't matter that much to us. Sorry to burst your bubble, America, but you know. But hey, we did notice that yes, there are more of you than is reasonable. We are concerned. Thanks for reminding us. Anyway, so wait, they're admitting they act like children? We have. Maybe the reason grown adults are acting like children about President Trump is because he's stepped up and he's acted like the strict parent to a group of spoiled, ignorant, and entitled teenagers in government that has been in need of a true father figure for a long time. He has only been governing over a cabinet, like, he picked his staff. He put his daughter on his staff. This is people who he chose. And also, this conservative, why are you acting like he's been governing liberal politicians who are like, apparently like children, okay? If they're like children, it's because it's your guys that are the problem. You do remember he's been in charge for the past 4 years. He's not the underdog anymore. He's been the president for 4 years. Anyway, next we have grandma. Wait, we can say that. Astronaut always could have grandma as always the victim. Okay, so obviously we are not quite into the festive season, but don't let that stop you. We have, it's okay to say Merry Christmas and one nation under God. Share if you agree. You are not a Christian nation. As someone who is from the UK, my country is legally defined as being a lot closer to a Christian nation than yours, and yet somehow less people do this. That's not to say we don't have them in the UK, but at least when they say we are one nation under God, we literally have the Queen, who is legally required to be a Protestant and to have her religious faith be part of her being a monarch, because that's how it works in a monarchy. There's that old antiquated notion that the kings and queens are chosen by God to be our rulers, which sadly has not been stricken from our legal system entirely, even though no one believes that shit except for crazy people. But you don't live in that society. You live in a free nation where you're free to celebrate any religion, and yet you don't recognize how un-American it is to say one nation under God in a nation that is not legally recognized as being a Christian nation. Anyway. Okay, Grandma. Actually, a post my grandma made this week. Oh, we're not just saying it was Grandma. It's actually your grandma. Okay. I don't know how to use TikTok, but I can write in cursive, do long division, and tell time on clocks with the hands. So there's that. Okay, let's go through this. So you don't know how to use an app that can be used to make money, and people have literally made full-time income, including becoming basically millionaires off of TikTok and other forms of social media. But what you do know how to... and also various small businesses build up a following and build their businesses on social media, including TikTok. Small business TikTok, it's out there. But you can make your handwriting look more squiggly than it needs to, so it is more difficult and less legible to read. You know how to do a form of math that is actually quite a slow way of doing that. There's actually several different ways of doing that kind of division, and the way that they teach in Western schools is not necessarily the fastest, and also calculators exist. If you have access to Facebook, you have access to a computer that is able to do this division for you and do it faster and more efficiently without chopping down a rainforest to write out long division on paper. But okay, good for you, you know how to do the antiquated way. If the zombie apocalypse comes and all of our technology goes, you'll be ahead in long division. I don't think it's the best skill to have to keep yourself alive in a zombie apocalypse, but you got it. Yay. And you know how to tell time on clocks with hands. Who doesn't know how to do that? I don't understand. Why do you think this is the thing that we don't know how to... I mean, to be fair, I have met some people who kind of have to, like, take a second to, like, think about it because they don't use those kind of clocks a lot, but it's not a thing of my generation to not... Is it? I feel like it's not a thing. I feel like they just think we don't know how to do that. Like, what do you mean you don't know how to do it with the hands? Like, I understand it can be jarring if you only ever use digital clocks and then someone's like, tell time quickly. And it's like, but again, it's like the only situation where you would never have access to a digital clock where you wouldn't have to worry about this is basically like full-on large-scale apocalypse where all of the technology goes, in which case we no longer have the facilities to manufacture more batteries to go into old school with the hands clocks, and so those are all going to run out of power. And also, if we're in the middle of the apocalypse, does it really matter if you know like exactly what time it is? Like, they have this thing called the sun in the sky, which will tell you whether it's like day or night, or like noon or like evening. Do you really need it down to the exact minute if you're in the middle of an apocalypse and fighting to stay alive? Is it that important to you? Really, Grandma? Like, I'm just saying, you have weird priorities. Because if you know how to use TikTok, then you know how to build up advertisement for your own private business, or to straight up build a social media platform where you can just make money off of being an influencer. I cannot see any way to survive an apocalypse or survive in current social economic climate using any of these skills you have. How are you going to use cursive to survive all of the economic unrest that has been caused by coronavirus? Because you could make TikToks. Like, I know a lot of teachers who have moved their classes online and use TikTok to do like short little bullet point notes of their classes, and that's a way that they advertise their services. I'm just saying, there's like a whole lot of options. But okay, Grandma, you don't know how to... we guessed you didn't know how to use TikTok, but okay. Next we have, how do people think like this? Imagine a sickness so bad that you have to be tested to know you have it. Are you talking about cancer? You know, cancer, how you can be sick with cancer for months, sometimes even years, and not know you have it. But if you don't get tested early enough, then you'll die, because treating early is very important for cancer. What else? What about, I feel like there's a bunch of STDs that like you can potentially be a symptomless carrier, and therefore you would only know if you got tested. But then at the same time, like chlamydia, a lot of men in particular don't really show symptoms. A lot of women can be rendered permanently barren by chlamydia and can also wind up being hospitalized and potentially die because of it. I mean, I could go down the list. There's a lot of illnesses that are either asymptomatic in some people but then potentially deadly in others, or that straight up have a long, like AIDS, for example, HIV, has a really long incubation period, meaning you can be infected with it and be able to infect others for quite a long time before you actually develop symptoms. But again, potentially lethal. So we all know which virus you're talking about, Grandma. But why do you think this is a new thing? Why do you think this hasn't been a thing with a lot of other diseases that people have been very scared of for a very long time? Why? Why do you think this is new or different? It's not. Lots of diseases can sometimes, and just to be clear, you don't always need to be tested to know you have it. I think we all know that. We've all got that friend who could not get tested, but who was convinced that they had it because they had all the symptoms. Because there were symptoms. Like, why do you think you need to? What is your point, Grandma? Why do you think you're clever? You're not clever, Grandma. But okay, yeah. Some people actually need to be tested to confirm that it's definitely coronavirus, and that that long persistent cough is not either a cold, the flu, lung cancer, coronavirus, pneumonia. There's a lot of diseases that have just coughing as a first symptom, but potentially just being just a cough, but sometimes potentially being life-threatening. It's pretty common. But okay. And this is the one thing that's most frustrating, is being in the age bracket that my government is currently blaming for all of the country's problems, whilst also currently having to always listen to people in the most at-risk category talking like this. Thanks for blaming young people when old people do this. Thanks for that. It's great. Anyway, that's where we're going to finish this video. That was r/4words from Grandma. Thanks for sharing, Grandma. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.